What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 5 of The Anomaly.
Episode 5.
All of the believers, non-believers, athletes, non-athletes.
There we go.
Stole down from Avery.
There
We
we go.
welcome you guys, man. We glad you guys here. We're glad to be back with another episode. What we talking about today, bruh?
Another episode. We are talking about, oh, snap. I done forgot what we were talking about.
We are talking about true success.
Oh, there it is.
That one I got brain fall. Look at this man. Look, he's on sleep, man.
They're going to fire me on my daggone day on. Not on my day off.
We're talking about true success, bruh.
True success.
I guess we'll start. What is, like, when you hear the word success, like, what is that? Like, what do you think of? Maybe not like personally, but like just in general. Like, what do you think about?
Yeah, I mean, when I hear, I guess, success just in general, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I sit like this, it makes me feel smarter. But, I was just playing. But when I hear success, I don't know. I just think about like somebody saying "good job" or like people looking in and going like, you know, like you're actually doing a good job of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know. So I guess, I mean, success can mean so many different things.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, success can look like the amount of money that you're making.
Yeah.
That's a form of measuring success. Like I just said earlier, somebody saying good job could be a measure of success, or something that you're doing and it just like it just looks good. Like if you're building a house or something like that, and the house just looks good, everything's put together, that can be success without anybody telling you good job, without the house being sold, but you can build a project and step back and go like, oh man, that's actually like it's a success. Yeah. So I guess in my head, that's what, when I hear success, you know, hey, you're successful, or hey, you're succeeding. That's kind of what comes into my head.
I guess, let me phrase the question this way. If we didn't know each other, I came up to you and said, I'm a successful business owner.
Oh, the first thing.
What does that mean?
The first thing I'm thinking about is like, okay, either this dude's a CEO, this dude's high up in something. Like, this dude got bread, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
for real.
This dude got money, and like he can do whatever he wants. Like, if you came up and said that to me, it's like, okay. You know, and then if we're being honest, like a part of you goes, I need to be friends with this person.
Yeah, I need to, get in good.
I need to get in good with this person. I feel like we always, you want to be around successful people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you want to be around successful people. So I guess that would be my first thought of like, that's what I would think of you. Yeah. It was like, okay, all the things I just listed out.
I was thinking, like, when I asked you the question, I was thinking like, I don't even know. Like, if someone told me like I'm a successful business owner, I probably would think the same typical things, but like, I feel like in my mind, I would think either this business, whatever business it is, because we didn't get that far in the conversation yet, just met the man.
Facts.
Whatever.
Facts.
Whatever business it is doing really well. He has a lot of sales, like you said, making a lot of money through the business.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess when I think about it deeper, it's like, to really, I guess, define what success even is, you have to know what the purpose of the thing is.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
What I'm saying?
That is very true. Yeah, because I sit there and think about like, I know in one of the episodes we talked about clay. Like if I made a clay, like a sculpture or art, and say like I purposely made that. Let's just say I made a vase or something like that. But the vase had cracks in it. It looked deformed, but like that was the artwork, right? And I sold it, and you put a flower in it. You would come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, this is not success. This is not a successful piece of artwork because this is not doing what I need to do." Yeah. And then I would look right back at you and be like, "It's not made to hold flowers. Yeah. Like it's just made to just be an artwork piece
of art. Yeah.
And then you would be like, well, okay. Our success is different, So I like what you're saying. Is like there has to be a purpose, like of what you're doing. I ain't gonna lie. Hold on, before we get to it, I had to set this thought. When you sat there and said like, we don't know what business it is. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm one of those people. If you told me like you ran, so I'm looking up everything about that business. What do you do? Is it actually successful?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna take you at your word. That sounds bad. You should take people at their word if you really trust them.
Yeah.
But I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes I'll be going back and I'm like, okay, hold on. I don't see his picture anywhere on the website.
Can't be that successful.
Can't be that good. But I ain't gonna lie. That's what I be thinking about sometimes. I'll be like, okay, yeah, it's successful. Bad. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Let me see if this don't really
Look
is
something
like
up
that.
real quick.
Let me
See what
look
they talking
something
about.
up.
But, nah.
So yeah, I like that purpose part. I think there has to be a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, to whether you deem something successful or not. I guess.
I mean, I guess that's an easy segue into like being believers. What does I guess it look like to live a successful life?
Yeah, I would say. I'm sorry to cut you off.
I'm just be thinking and talking at the same time.
Yeah, I just literally just had this thought. I think it's kind of cool, like to let people in. Like, man, those of you that are listening, and we talked about this. Like, man, what is success look for this podcast?
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously we want it to grow. Obviously we want a lot of people to listen to it. But, you know, we were on the phone before we even started this whole thing. And we were like, man, if one person's life is changed, like they, you know, let's say they hear the gospel and something that we're saying, or they're intrigued by, okay, who is this?
Yeah.
They talking a lot about Jesus, a lot about God. Like, who is this? And they deep dive and they figure out and they try to see who it is.
Yeah.
And then they ended up going from death to life. They end up having a relationship with Jesus. I feel like we talked about it. Like, we were like, man, that's successful.
Yeah,
that's
exactly what this is about.
Yeah.
So,
even if we have no subscribers, but one person's life has changed, successful. If we have thousands of subscribers and listeners, and one person's life has changed, like, man, like I feel like we measure this, and you can kind of speak to this, but like we measure this podcast off of like, man, we want life change to happen.
Yeah.
So if one person's life is being changed, is transformed, is growing, then it's like, man, this is a success.
I feel like that's kind of something we can talk about too, because it's like when you think of success based off what we've been saying, a lot of it is based off of that person and their intention or their purpose, I guess. So like you were saying, for this podcast, success to us looks different than people might, like somebody who doesn't know us or doesn't know what we're trying to do. Right. They might see the podcast and be like, oh, they only got 10 subscribers or this, and like,
they trash.
They trash. But like, that's not the point. Like, obviously, I will say this along with it though. That doesn't mean we are not doing everything we can to get the word out, doing everything we can to grow the audience, because with that, they can hear the words that we're saying. We're not just saying random stuff to hopefully go into your ears and then just forget about it. We're saying like things that are the word of God. Like, we're saying experiences, wisdom that God has placed on our hearts in order to bless you guys, hopefully. So it's like, yes, we have our view of success, which is even just that one person. Right. But at the same time, we are still going to be putting in the work and 100%. Still grinding and still like thinking about, obviously, hopefully not overthinking or putting too much priority on the overall following or the view count, subscribers. Like, that's important to us and we follow it. But like you were saying, I feel like as far as viewing and measuring success for us personally, it's definitely more like,
and I think it's a battle. It's a constant fight. Like, it's a constant, like, remember what you're doing this for. Like in this case, it's like, man, like you said, do we want there to be a lot of followers? Absolutely. Yeah. Do we want there to be a lot of subscribers? Absolutely. Yeah. Like, do we want people to, like, yes, we wanted this thing to grow and, you know, eventually one day we plan to sell some merch and we have dreams and aspirations for this thing, but it's like, but then we have to hold that tension with like, man, what is it really about? Yeah. You know, as much as you want it to grow, like, because, you know, sometimes if this thing only got 100 likes, I know. dang, I was hoping it got 500. You know, like there's sometimes it's true.
Definitely,
you know,
for sure.
But it's like holding that tension.
Yeah.
You know, I think about like Jesus did a great job of holding the tension between like grace and truth.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you know, it's like same thing with this. Like you were holding success with a tension that's like we have dreams and aspirations, but then we also have the tension of like, man, what
true
like
success
the true
is,
success,
like,
yes, and which is life change and you know stuff like that.
And I feel like that honestly can kind of relate to everything that we do, especially as being Christian athletes or Christian in the sports world, because being any type of athlete, if you were one in the past, now, or the future, or honestly just people in general, like you have dreams, like it's so easy to just wake up and be like, whatever you start doing, if you start, like when we first started thinking about the podcast, the first thoughts that both of us probably had was down the road when we got like, daggone millions and millions of views and subscribers. It's like, that's good. Like, that's the hope, and that's what keeps us going throughout these moments. But like you were saying, the thing that's gonna keep us grounded is knowing what our why is, or our purpose, and like the reason for even starting the podcast in the first place. And that's gonna get us there. But at the same time, if we get too caught up in getting there, we're gonna leave behind the whole purpose. And then we're gonna get there and have nothing to show for it.
I like what you said. Like this applies to believers, non-believers. I feel like this applies to anybody. It's like know your why. Like,
why are you doing what you're doing?
Why are you doing what you're doing?
I mean, that's kind of what we talked about in the purpose episode. For us, obviously, for non-believers, they have to get to that point. But like, if you know your purpose, everything else is, I didn't say easier, but you know what to do with it at that point. You know how to move.
You can judge if something is successful or not.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, like if my goal, like if I'm playing basketball and my goal is a win and a loss, like that's how I'm judging my success, a win or a loss. And I go in and I lose. Well, guess what? I'm not successful. It don't matter if I scored 50.
You had 50 points and y'all still lost.
And we still lost. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy. You on the wrong team, cause that's wild. But yeah, go ahead.
But it's like, that's how I started out judging. Like if I'm doing this, like, no, I'm judging my success off of win or loss. Now, on the other side of it, if I'm judging it off of like stay with that. If I win or loss and say I score 2 points, but we still win, man, that was a successful game. You know?
Yeah.
Now on the other side of the coin is if I sit there and go like, man, my goal is to score 25. I don't care if we win or lose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, we scored, you know, we lost, but I scored I scored 40.
Yeah, for the 40, yeah.
It ain't on me.
It ain't my fault we lost.
It ain't my fault we lost. You know what I'm saying? But, or it's like we win and you scored, let's say you scored 20. You didn't reach your goal, but it's like now you walking around. So, but it's like, well, so it's like you got to define what is successful. Like I'm just in general, like what's your why? But I feel like as believers, it goes much deeper than that. Like there's like a true success for our lives.
Yeah.
All the other stuff is just, you know, it matters, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just okay. This is what I got for you. But like, speak on like, let's kind of change the gear. Like, speak on like the true success for
our lives,
a believer, because I feel like that, you know, because it's hard.
That encompasses everybody.
Yeah,
because it's sports or not.
Because you know it's hard playing a sport. Like you have the success of the sport, but then you also hold the tension of success as a believer, like that. Yeah. I mean, we just talked about balance in life, but like that's a balance too.
Yeah, you know? I think, man. I mean, I think when it comes to just success as far as like life as a believer, you got to look at our purpose, like we've talked about multiple times, to worship God. And yes, if you're doing that, you should be fulfilling your purpose. But I think there's also things that like God says about the greatest commandment of these is to love. You know, like, so if you're doing the things in my eyes, that God said, like, Jesus said, like, with his mouth, not just the word that he left us. Like, he literally said these things, to love. Like, if you're doing that, you're doing what you need to do. Yeah. That's why I feel like it's hard a lot of times for athletes, because you get so much caught up in competition or the goals, the dreams, that sometimes anger can come from that, or fear or anxiety. And at that point, even though you may be walking in your purpose, it's still taking you away from your overall purpose, as far as like loving and like worshiping, you know? So like you said, it's a serious balance, but something we've been hitting on, we keep on hitting on, is like, you got to be self-aware and have the people around you to be able to help you, to be able to point things out when maybe you aren't like walking the way that maybe you should, or you're going too far into the competitive spirit and it's taking you further and further away to being able to love and like care, you know?
I ain't gonna hold you. Playing pickup basketball.
Sheesh, that'll do it, boy. That'll do it.
So, I'm not speaking bad about anybody. But sometimes, if I'm being honest, if I can be honest real quick.
Yeah, got to, bro. Always.
If I'm being honest, sometimes it's the ones that are believers that be the worst ones on the court.
Yeah.
Like the competition and it's like, oh, it's in the spirit of competition. It's like, man, I get that. I get it. But you are called to something higher, something greater.
Like, yes, compete, but you got to compete by all means, on another level. Like,
by all means.
For me, when it comes competition, when I look at it through the lens of my faith and the lens of like the Bible, competition should never be about somebody else. It should always be about giving God your very best in comparison to somebody else. Like that might, because obviously you're playing against someone, so there's some type of comparison, but like for you, it's not about, oh, I hate this person, so I'm finna go so hard, I'm finna dunk on his head. Like,
it's just,
I'm just doing my very best, and whatever work he's put in, whatever, how many hours of practice he's put in, we gonna see on that day, like through the competition, who's the better man, you know? But at the end of the day, my focus is giving my all to glorify God. You know what I'm saying?
And that's where it's like, man, the competition piece, it's like you want it. Like you're playing sport, you competing to win.
Compete,
Like if we're being you got to compete to win.
For sure.
If you're not competing to win, I question, what are you doing in the first?
No, for real. If you're not competing to win, that's not even like biblical. Like, what you doing? Like, what you just here for? Like, go home.
So, but it's like whenever that competition, like, bleeds or like or overshadows your true purpose, like your true identity and stuff like that, that's where it's like, hey, you know, I understand it being a struggle, but then sometimes it's like, because I think about it like, if I invited my unbelieving friend to hoop, which is a very regular thing, and we're out here competing, and then next thing you know, my believing friend over here is just going crazy. Then it's like you kind of feel like that embarrassment of like, shoot. Like, and then what if the unbeliever, hey man, didn't you say so and so? He a believer? Yeah. Are you sure? You know what I'm saying? And now it's like, man, your witness is in a way is kind of like, now I'm not saying that completely removes you from heaven or whatever, but it's like your witness is now tainted, is watered down a little bit, where it's like, you know, now you go up to that person after a pickup game and you say, hey man, you know, you try to, and now the other dude's looking at you like, hold on, dog.
You can't just switch up like that.
You switching up real.
I mean, that kind of go back to what we was talking about with on the field versus off the field, or
switching
on the
up,
court.
my dog.
You can't switch up like that, bro. It's
now I've seen this before where people will do that and they struggle, like, you know, competing.
It's
and then
one thing to struggle,
and then afterwards, man, like I said, shout out. This is my guy. I might shout this man out a lot of episodes, but Ronald Redmond. Big shout out to him. Like, he is somebody that, well, he competes. Like, he competes. He talking junk to me one game. Like, we're going back and forth, good spirit and all this stuff. But then, like, I seen him compete against somebody and, like, it started getting bad.
Yeah.
Like it was like in
too much.
Yeah, like my heart's pounding a little bit. Like, all right.
You get nervous for them.
Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this? And man, afterwards, like I saw him go after the game and went up to the dude and like apologized and like he was like, man, this, and it's like, man, in that moment you see that it's like, man, he could be, and it's like immediately he recognized,
exactly,
like, hey man, what am I doing? Like my success or whatever ain't coming from me winning a pickup basketball game to 7. You know what I'm saying? Like my success is bringing people in here. They can hoop, they can have fun, and hopefully build that relationship. And then bring them closer to Jesus or something like that. So, man, shout out to Ron. Like I'm telling you, like it was cool to see that, because when I say he competes,
I bet
he competes.
I ain't gonna hold you. He
competes.
I don't even know if this is kind of on the same topic or not, but I used to like struggle with being like overly competitive, like as a kid, to the point where once I got like really to college and even as a pro, I have to like, it's weird. I have to like tap back into that.
Really?
And like,
it's interesting.
I've like continually had to like learn how to be competitive in the right way space. The right way. Yeah.
I get that, because I would say like when basketball, like it's the weirdest thing. If I lose in a basketball game, not mad at all. Basketball, what I do. If I win, I'm good. But if we play pickup volleyball, if we play kickball, if we play anything besides basketball, bro, dog. And then if people want to say good game, dog, do not say good game to me. Like I don't even want to shake your hand. Like I don't want to, bro. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. But basketball, I think it's a good game, dog. Like we lose and all that stuff, but then we same people. We play like a kickball game, and we lose. Nah, I should have beat you anyway. We talking about a good game. I ain't played no good game. We lost. Look, if I would have played a good game, we would have won. What you talking about? I feel that. I kind of feel that though. I feel that though.
Yeah,
in a way,
it's weird because I feel like as a kid, being like overly competitive, like we be playing like a video game or something, and I would lose. And I would like throw the controller or something like that. Like I was 100%. like that type of, like I would get in trouble for my reaction to winning or losing or whatever it may be. So I feel like that growing up, I got to the point where I had to like, I just kind of suppressed it. Like, I mean, I was still competitive. Like obviously I did sports, I was competitive, but not like that. I don't know. It's like that dog, like you gonna do what you gotta do. And no matter what, like your heart is, you no matter what, I'm finna win. Like I don't care, And I have to learn now how to like, because that's a good thing. That's a good spirit to have when it comes to competing. Like you want the desire to win. Right. Like we were saying before, like if you don't have that, competition is probably not for you. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I just want you to know, I thought of a terrible joke as you were saying this. A terrible joke.
You gonna say it, bro? You might as well say it now at this
point. Bro, I was like, so that makes sense why you got the silver medal. Bro, I can't even, bro.
That's crazy, bro. You know that's really crazy. That's crazy.
That's awful, bro. That is awful. I'm sorry.
I mean, I did. Like,
I'm sorry. If you would have had that competitive whatever would have had a gold medal.
We got 5 minutes. We got to finish up. We got to finish.
That boy would have had a gold medal right here, and I was playing.
Next year.
I'm playing, bro. That was I'm sorry. That was I couldn't resist.
Hey, I ain't mad at it, bro. See, look, they seeing the real you right now, bro. So if you blow up the comments, tell him how trash he is, let him feel bad for a little bit.
Look, I ain't got no medal but a plastic one at the crib. Oh snap!
My head hurt.
That's funny.
Laughing, bro. Stop playing,
funny.
Bro.
But no, I think like, man, as it comes to a believer, I know for me, like, I mean, I think I mentioned this on an episode or something like that. But I know I talked about this, but it's like, man, for me, true success, like I want at the end of the road, like I want to stand at them gates and stuff like that. And God look at me and say, like, well done, good and faithful servant. Yeah. Like the things that I've given you, you have stored over them. You have done well. You have loved others. You have loved me. And it's like, man, that's what I want to try to aim to, like, as true success. Because then it's going to play out whether I'm doing this podcast, whether I'm coaching basketball, whether I'm training, whether I'm doing whatever it is. Yeah. You know, it's like, man, if I'm trying to get that well done, good and faithful servant, then I got to serve well here in this podcast. I got to serve well here when I train. I got to love and serve well when I'm coaching and whoever I'm with, if I'm just out, you know. So I think for me, like, how I measure like true success is like, man, I want that at the end of the road. Yeah. Like, for you know, Lord, did not, and like, he's like, yes, I know you. Like, come on in. Exactly. I don't want that depart from me for I didn't know you. Like, I want that well done, good and faithful servant. Like, I know who you are, you know who I am, and stuff like that. So I think, like, for me, that's how I measure true success.
Yeah, you know? I mean, I feel like that's how it should be for, I mean, all of us. But I think something that we got to be careful with, I guess I'll just end with this as we start wrapping it up, is that we can't let, even though we may have a purpose or a calling in a certain area or gifts from God in a certain area, like for me, track or sports or whatever it may be, coaching, we can't let our dreams of doing that well overshadow our purpose as Christians, as believers at the end of the day. And a lot of times we can't do that alone. So I'm going to read this verse that I like to go through. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It's simple. You probably heard it before. But it's trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. So don't lean on your own understanding, man. That comes back to what we talk about, like purpose. Like God gave us that. It's not something that you can just make up. Like you can just, like you were created. Go to your creator to see why he put you on this earth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
That's good though. Go back to the creator. It goes back, man. It's cool how all these episodes kind of align.
They really do.
But that's the season though. But I think about that. Like, that's the season beyond the athlete. It's like, man, a lot of these episodes are gonna kind of be woven in together and just different nuggets, different aspects. But it's like, man, it in a way it always goes back go back to the creator. Go back to the one who created you. Go back to the one who knows you. Yeah. Go back to the one who he tells you what true success is and how to do it. Yeah. You know, so I like that. I like that. You got to be competitive, but also you got to know your why. And, you know, whenever you fall, you feel like you're falling off because it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. Sure. Then it's like, go back to the creator that created you so you can get right back in line. Go back to the source. For sure. Go back to the source. Go ahead and close this out, man.
That was good, bro. I feel like we just be going. Like,
that is true, bro.
You done joned on me on this one. We just be chopping it up and everything.
Bro, you open that door wide open, bro. I met my head. I was like, dog, should I say this? But I was like, it's kind of funny, but I don't want to I didn't win a silver medal. I'm not an Olympic athlete, but that junk is funny though.
This is all going through your head in them 10 seconds that you said. And with that being said, yes, I'm going to take it today. With that being said,
you can take it today, man.
We appreciate you guys, man.
We appreciate y'all.
If this helped y'all at all, like we always say, share it with somebody that you love, that you care, that you think this can speak to. And we will see y'all in the next episode.
See y'all next episode. Peace. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
You're really wrong for that, bro. You ain't have to go that far. You ain't have to go there, bro. On camera is crazy, bro. Crazy.